Your choice.
Welcome everyone. I'd like to call this rambunctious group to order, and we are going to begin with the Washington students leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag's now over here, though. It's changed.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And first off, I'll first hear a motion to approve agenda.
No, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as published.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. And then we go straight over to our Washington School students and our principal, Natasha Hamer, and welcome everyone.
Welcome. So I am Tasha Hamer, I'm the principal of Washington Elementary, and we are here tonight to talk to you about a new program at Washington called Sixth Grade Leadership. This is completely student-ran and driven, and they're going to take it away and tell you all about it.
Hi, I'm Trevor Caddick, and my top 3 strengths are relating, competing, and achieving. Hi, I'm Claire Preston. My top 3 strengths are relating, caring, and competing.
Hi, I'm Theo Jansen. My top 3 strengths are discover, achieving, and caring.
Hi, I'm Fiona Naples. My top 3 strengths are caring, dependability, and relating. Students designed and chose leadership activities that we wanted to do, such as school spirit, student store, office help, teacher's aide, and student teacher. We decided which one of these roles we were going to do depending on our top 3 strengths.
We got our top 3 strengths by taking a strength finder survey at the beginning of the year, and we took our top 3 strengths and matched them with the 5 options that we created and chose. And we know that you guys have taken your strength finder survey, and yeah, the only difference is you guys have some different ones, and you guys have 5 and you only have 3.
We have bad memories, so I can't remember.
Yeah, I was like,
We did?
We're old.
We did.
Yeah. We'll do it later. Continue.
What are my strengths?
One of the most popular positions we chose was a student teacher or teacher's aide, which consists of me and fellow students going into younger grades, helping them with their everyday work and building relationships with them. And I work in the kindergartner's room with Miss McNelly, and it's really fun and nice to make relationships and become friends with kindergartners.
I am a teacher's aide.
Sorry.
I help Ms. Becker and her students organize folders and put their names on math books, and I normally go out with recess with them too.
I work in student stores. Sixth grade leadership created the student store. Students advertised, organized, and bought items for this store. And we made this store entirely from scratch. We sell merchandise to all K through 6th graders at their last recess. And one of my favorite parts about doing the student store is being able to pick the items we sell to our students or fellow students. And all profits from the student store will go to a student store fund for the next 6th grade leadership class.
Leadership contributes to our office by passing out food bags and setting out the reader board.
We also help by setting out pod drawing awards and maintaining lost and found. I fall into a school spirit part, and I help structure activities with students. I'm creating a time capsule right now that we will open during our senior walkthrough. I help clean up and organize the playground. I schedule and plan events for everybody, and I also put out pod drawing awards and prizes.
Paws are given out by teachers to students who follow our Cougar Gur. Our Cougar Gur is giving respect to self, others, and property. Paws are put into a drawing every Friday, and two to 3 students from each class in each grade will be chosen and will receive a prize later that day. Thank you.
Any questions?
You guys have any questions?
I do. What's on your badges right there?
Oh, it's just our name and it says 6th grade leadership.
And does that just identify you as that, or does that get you
Yeah.
any special locations? Or?
Well, if they're wandering the halls and they have a badge on, you know,
No, that we're just.
Probably for a good reason.
they're up to something good.
Nice.
How many 6th graders are involved in the leadership?
Everyone.
Everyone, all 6th graders.
At least
Full
50.
classes.
50.
I'm
Yeah.
long good at
50.
Great.
51.
Well, that's fantastic. And then I have to ask you, do you have to keep up your grades in order to be given the leadership privileges? Or is it just you're already also great?
We're just already on it. Like, they're in the other 6th grade class and we're in one, and we do it every Friday and they do it every Thursday.
Nice.
For like 30 minutes each.
Great. Well, thank you very much for presenting. That's a great program.
Before they leave, I do want to tell you, two things. One is Miss Hamer, she's the first one in the district to get on this bandwagon of the strength finders. So we did that, you know, with all the groups. I did that with the board, K-12 admin operations team, and asked the principals to do with their office teams, their building leadership teams this year, and that they could start to do it with the staff and students. And Miss Hamer was the first one, and had her son do it first, and then asked if she could do it with the 6th grade leadership. So really a thank you to her for being an inspiration and jumping on and starting something like this, because I told these students when we always do a run through before we go to the board meeting, and I told them our future is so bright and I feel so confident and hopeful for our future. When you have students like this, they were so prepared. You see how great they presented.
Dressed up.
Yeah, it's just really impressive, and it makes me really inspired that you guys are already this great in 6th grade. So,
Thank you.
now you get cookies.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to the parents for letting them come. Yep. I always forget that Kelly has to run after,
So we're moving on to Sandpoint High School is going to, their counseling team is presenting on the One Trusted Adult Initiative. Welcome to Sandpoint Counseling Team.
Well, good evening. Thank you so much, board and admin. I have a double ear infection, so hope my voice isn't too loud. We appreciate the opportunity to share a great initiative we did at Sandpoint High School with you all. And just a brief overview. I'm Geraldine Meyer, the department chair. This is Jessica Lippy, Shannon Kerrigan, and Janae Moore, our counseling intern. And then we have 3 other members of our team, Angie Dale, who's our college career advisor, Erica Brownell, who's our registrar, and Amanda Skinner, who's our college and career, our counseling office coordinator part-time. So we want to share a few things with you.
All right, so we know that having strong relationships with caring adults is one of the strongest protective factors a child or adolescent can have in their life. And we know that these relationships are a powerful force when it comes to adolescent mental health. This initiative was aimed at seeking help from the trusted adults in our lives, and part of that process was norming help-seeking behaviors before help is needed. To accomplish this, we started with a series of promotional videos. These videos were shown to all students at SHS. We used a giant St. Bernard named Haas to help spread the message, understanding that adolescents are more inclined to listen to their peers and even animals before adults. We strategically utilized Haas to capture their attention. We followed up the month of promotional videos with classroom lessons delivered to all 9th grade students. We defined the characteristics of a trusted adult and how to identify and access a trusted adult at Sandpoint High School. Additionally, students had the opportunity to hear firsthand from our SHS mentors who shared personal experiences and offered valuable advice on seeking help and forming connections with trusted adults. The lesson culminated with a thank you activity designed to strengthen bonds and foster a culture of generosity within our school. The next slide shows a highlight reel of our campaign.
by today. SHS has a cool initiative about trusted adults. Want to learn about it? Let's go.
Hi, Haas. Thanks for stopping by today. Heard you had some questions about trusted adults and the Trusted Adult Initiative at Elton Point High School. Trusted adults are your go-to people. They are your experienced supporters and advocates.
You can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
Hey, Haas. Let's go learn about the ABCs of being a trusted adult. Let's go see Shannon. Come on.
Hey, Haas. I would love to tell you about the ABCs of being a trusted adult. The A stands for accessible. Trusted adults are approachable, and when you're with them, they are fully tuned into you and paying attention to your needs.
You can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
Hey, Haas, we've learned so many great things about trusted adults. Let's go learn how to name one both at home and school.
Hi, buddy. It's time for you to name a trusted adult. Did you know there's a couple questions you can ask to name that adult? The first one is, who's an adult you want to share good news with? Also, who's an adult you would go to with a worry or a concern? And who's an adult that makes you feel safe? What adult comes to mind when you ask these questions? That's probably your trusted adult.
You can count on me 'cause I can count on you.
A friend in me. You got a friend in me. So in September, Sandpoint High School distributed a student safety survey to the entire student body to assess their feelings on various aspects of school life. Some questions specifically inquired whether students had a trusted adult outside of school or if they had one at school. In support of the district-wide Trusted Adult Initiative, the counselors chose to focus on this area to build and foster connections within our school community. We concentrated on our freshman class, recognizing that they might feel the least connected to adults at Sandpoint High School early in the school year. This initial survey data revealed that only 68% of our freshmen could identify a trusted adult at school. After implementing our Trusted Adult Initiative this fall, we resurveyed the freshman class and found that 84% could now identify and name a trusted adult at Sandpoint High School. While we celebrate the significant progress, we also recognize that approximately 16% of our freshmen didn't feel confident or comfortable identifying a trusted adult at school. So we are actively working to connect with these individual students and build those essential relationships that foster that sense of safety, trust, and belonging at SHS.
We saw both the powerful and positive impacts on students and staff as a result of this initiative. Our students gain knowledge and understanding that life can be challenging, and having a trusted adult is protective, helps them reach their potential and grow. Naming a trusted adult at home and school now helps them seek that person when they go through a difficult time. It has also left an impression on our staff. As you can see, Mr. Yarno states that when he received a thank you note from one of his students naming him as a trusted adult, it reiterated the importance of deepening connections with their students inside and outside of the classroom. So we want to take a moment to thank administration, teachers, staff, school board members, not only for your support in this initiative, but your persistent dedication to student well-being and success.
Any questions? Was that true? Any questions?
I do actually have a question on the program. So if I'm a ninth grader and I do my survey whenever it was done this second round, do you name the trusted adult at the school, or do I just say, yes, I have one?
They were named.
They were named. And then do the teachers get a list of, hey, these 5 people named you as a trusted adult?
No, the students, we encourage the students actually wrote a thank you note to those teachers, so then the teachers knew,
So
or the staff, any staff member.
So everybody, in theory, wrote a thank you note to their own trusted adult.
Yes. And then they're following up with their students.
That's great. Yeah,
So
it's just
for
curious
the students
how
that maybe couldn't name them yet, to make
Right.
sure that we're building that connection.
Yeah.
Part of the process and cementing that bond is actually delivering that thank you
Yeah.
note to the teacher, and some students wrote multiple thank you notes
Or to staff
in the
member.
school and outside.
Yeah, that's great.
I had a question. Did any of the students, especially that 16%, have a trusted adult outside of the school? Or how does that work or look on your
We
survey?
focused our initiative at Sandpoint High School. We always refer to trusted adult at home or school, but we were focusing on if a school thing came up, who's your school person to go to during the day. But almost on the survey, most students had somebody at home or, grandparent or mom, dad,
Sure.
all that. We encouraged that, but we also were trying to focus if something in school.
That's good.
Okay.
Are there any other questions?
So are you planning to continue this with freshmen, or will you expand it throughout all grade levels?
Go ahead. Go ahead, take it.
We plan to continue this as a freshman, a 9th grade level program, and then expand next year to something different for 10th graders or for 11th graders.
Cool.
When Dr. Meyer gives us money for strength finders
Yeah.
for all our 10th graders, we're going to do that. That'd be great. We love it.
Thank you. Oh, So, we are going to hear from Clark Fork Junior Senior High about the track team. Hello, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for letting me be here for a few minutes. We're going to talk about a trap club that we have started at our school.
Yeah.
So we kind of started this was Sandpoint, Silly Valley Garden School gave me a call a couple years ago, and we started to develop kind of what this has turned into. Unfortunately, we couldn't get those guys on board, but we are going to reach out again next year, maybe in the fall, and see if we can combine our schools. Mission for this is to give a non-traditional athletic opportunity to our students. We have a lot of kids that are in 4 sports, 3-4 sports as we go through, but we have that fringe group. They're just kind of sitting out there not doing a whole lot, and so we thought, let's bring some excitement, try something different, some concept development. The vision of this trap club is to actually eventually turn this into a high school sport. It's happening all over the state. It's happening all over the United States. We do have a state tournament that 3 kids have qualified for already, and so they'll be going down to Boise when school gets out and compete down there. We'd like to talk to Sandpoint also about getting something going. This is why we had to come into Sandpoint, to the Sandpoint Gun Club. We do not have a gun club out in Clark Fork anymore, and nowhere to shoot. And so I started making some phone calls. A guy named Bart answered the phone out there, and super nice guy. We've gotten to know him. Amanda's also a coach with me. You can wave. There she is. Her kids fill 2/3 of our team. And so right now we're looking to get this kind of kicked off because we start talking to them about scholarships. These guys are all over the place. They shoot 6 months out of the year, and highly competitive, husband and wife. And so it was really nice to have his wife there as well. And so she's kind of taken on our one female competitor. Scholarship opportunities, there's all kinds of stuff. They talk to some people like in Nebraska. They know some people that are coaching the college level stuff. And so, if we have any kind of connection where we can get kids scholarships, that kind of stuff, that's what we're into. We also want to increase community connections, getting to know all these people out there. Very excited. Everybody has input and wants to shoot with the kids. I'll show you a picture in a second. But we have some really wonderful people in the Sandpoint community. And Clark Fork, a bunch of people are like, we used to have it. And so this might bring something back. We're going to have connections with Knoxon. Monterey Ferry has a youth league, I believe. I don't know if it's connected to the high school. But you're going to see here in the next slide, there's a few high schools that go. So Cooney High School currently has a high school team. Coeur d'Alene has one. Lewiston Timberlake. Valor Christian in town is going to start in the fall. So we've already had discussions with those guys. And then Potlatch, this is kind of the closest group that I can come up with. I've already established. Safety, number one, safety starts at home. The guns do not ever come on school grounds. Ammunition never comes on school grounds. This is all a separate, we meet on the weekend. Parents know you cannot bring anything. the certifications that we have. This is a 6-hour course for every coach. And so I went through that. And also Adam Noble, who is at Hope Elementary, is also a coach as well. So, insurance comes with this, so the kids all have to sign up. They all have a separate policy through the actual Idaho State High School. And so that's kind of a nice thing to put in. Gun Club also has insurance on what's going on. And then they also have their requirements. And so when we got out of the cars, it starts, as soon as the kids get out of the vehicle, it is open. Everything's open, all the actions are open, kids are walking over to the thing, it's empty, they set it, the kids, it's pretty awesome. They start us right and they're watching you. So as soon as you get out of the car, Bart's over there, scoping us out, and so that's kind of our deal too. So we're learning as well. I've never shot trap before, but just to get something going like this is pretty exciting. So got a picture of our team. 2/3, they're the Highlands, and then Breckham Noble, Mr. Noble's son. We did have 5, and then life happened to the other 2, and so they actually signed up, they got insured, they got the whole 9 yards, and then a lot of things were coming at them. So, and then this is our shoot. This is, if you've never been to Sandpoint Gun Club, this is what they have. They actually opened it up on a Saturday just for our kids, so it wasn't intimidating, and we brought them out, and everybody has a highly qualified professional shooter standing right next to them. And so Amanda and I and Adam are sitting there just soaking it up because we didn't really know what we were getting into, and these guys have done it. So
Great.
yeah. So big vision. Hopefully we get a club out in Dark Fork someday. People are already kind of hearing about this. We're hoping this expands like crazy. A lot of kids are hearing about what we've done. These are the ones that we could get when the deadline kind of happened. And so there's a bunch of kids kind of buzzing about what that looks like next year. Getting some money, thrown at us, which would be nice because ammunition is, what was it, $9 to $12 a box, and they have to shoot 3 boxes when we get there. So yeah, it's expensive, and so we're going to be looking for more financial help next year. So, any questions?
What's your age group?
We've talked about this a little bit, and one of their requests at the course was if they can hold it up. So like 6th grader, if they can't hold up a 12-gauge shotgun, we're not gonna mess with it. So it's got to be 6th grade. Cardin School, I think, was asking for a 6th grader, so we would do that. I think 6th grade up to 12.
And you're using 12 gauge?
12 gauge is the recommended from them. You can use
20.
20 gauge is probably the lowest we do.
Yeah, really.
If you hit it with a 410, you're awesome.
Are there other questions?
Yeah.
Do you only do trap, or are you guys doing skeet, or is that?
We're only going to start with trap now, and then once the kids kind of get rolling, we got some summer plans. And these guys are they're inviting all of our families. They want us all to get going. One thing about the club is, they'll tell you it's aging out. Everybody is 57. I think the youngest guy there was 57, and he said they were so excited to meet with us and just see kids doing what we're doing. Very, very excited. So they want all of our families to show up this summer. We're going to go shoot it. They gave us a membership for the kids. Some people have donated rounds to them because they all know. The box of shells is not the only thing. You have to pay for the round as well. So pitches are being thrown, and so there's a lot of costs, And that's what we're calculating now, so that way we can help kids later understand. That's not going to limit. That's what we want to get away from too. Is we have a lot of kids at Clark Fork that could be doing this, and they have no money to throw at it or even a shotgun. And so that's something that we want to build and help them out with.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I have our Chief Financial Officer, Brian Walton, who's here to give us our financial update.
Chairman Lewis, Dr. Meyer, members of the board. The financial report for the month, again, I'm just going to start off with the same format. Of course, this is through April, but overall we've received, up this year about 83% of our revenues for the year. We do get a payment in May, and then the final state payments come in July, and then of course we get our final property taxes. But we're tracking pretty similar to other years. Our expenditures are real close to other years right now. So we're tracking pretty well the budget. We should come in right by even is what we're sort of guessing right now. At the end of the year, there's a lot of accounting changes depending on when some of those come in. If you pay in this fiscal year, or pay just July 1st, and really they're booked next year. So a lot of that will be happening as we get through the year-end process. But overall, we're healthy. And again, salaries and benefits. We go to the next slide. There's the vast majority of our dollars there, and the salaries and benefits, and they're starting to raise up. But after June, we really only have 4 months of payroll left, and it's all about in the general fund, $3.2 million a month, and we're tracking like that. So should get right near the top. The other spending is starting to, get purchase service even up there. Well, at the building level, what I mean for like schools and stuff, that's slowed up because they're sort of doing their final purchasing. Some of those deals are getting cleared out. We still have maintenance and transportation and utilities that happen every month. Haven't done, well, that's fine. I haven't done any transfers. We just did $200,000 this month that we're going to one fund, and we'll have some others that are going in the next few months. And a lot of times, I did the same thing that Ms. Halls did, is that we sort of do that more at year end, is going through the audit, stuff like that, and transferring the dollars to the budget. On the revenue side, you can see that most of the state revenue is come in. We should be right around that 28 million, and supplemental levy is a little over half has come in. Some trickles in more, but then really the next big payment that comes in is when people make their June payments. Really don't get that money until late July, but it's credited back this year. Next slide, I think, is just our enrollment report. So it is, this year we've done a pretty good job of maintaining the kids relative to where we last year. If you look at the previous month, we were at 3764. We actually added 5 kids. So, and last year, at this time of the year, we're 3792, so only down 23, where, at the start of the year, when we were comparing enrollment, we were down like 100. So we've done a good job holding the kids throughout the year. On a funding side, though, the most important part when you have the kids is the first few months. So when we were down at 100 funding-wise, that impacted us more than, but instructionally, though, it's probably a very good thing. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time to talk about next year's budget. So next month we'll have the formal budget hearing. We'll have a lot more information as far as not just the general fund, but also the other funds that are coming in, and some more narrative and detail that's been presented in previous years. But just remind you of the goals, that really we're basing this next year's budget to maintain what we're doing in current programs and to support the strategic plan that's been in place. Especially, we're going to be able to address some facility needs with some of that new legislation. And again, a lot of the dollars that we're spending and adding for next year is really to maintain staff and be competitive. It's a competitive job market, and also making sure that our resources are going to extracurricular activities with our levy, continue the Chromebook replacement, and doing things with, we'll have a curriculum pilot and things like that next year. So if we look at the next slide, so here, this is sort of this may change a little bit as we're looking at final numbers and getting additional information from the state, and we're doing that, but as a general, we're going to start where, my estimate, we're going to start at the beginning of the year, I think it's going to be a flat, is we have a very healthy fund balance of almost $19 million for the general fund. So for next year, anticipating to get about the same amount of tax revenue. Our supplemental levy is flat at $12.7 million. The balance that puts it up over $13 million is really the tort levy, and then like some penalty interest, but it all gets lumped together. You can see it's pretty similar to what budget was last year. Other local, I am budgeting a little more realistic of the interest we've been getting. So that, from what we did, so that's one thing that if interest rates eventually go down, that would sort of be an impact of having that extra revenues coming in. You can see the state revenue is a little higher, and then, so our total revenue is higher estimated than last year. So we'd have a total of, we've spent our whole savings account, we'd have 1.7 to spend. So you can see the estimate that our salaries, benefits, we're estimating higher. I'm going to have some more details in the next slide. Purchase services are pretty close, utilities, things like that. Supplies and materials, we're bumping up on some of those estimates we got from the departments. Capital is going to be pretty similar to what we did last year. Insurance overall is, on this line's going up, and then transfers we're doing a little bit less. That was part of the changes the departments did, so that we would have the way they restructured some of their budgets. And then I'm budgeting the same contingency reserve and for the unexpected that we did this year. And so total expenditures would be that 49 million. You can see that we'd actually spend down a little bit of our rainy day fund, almost $2 million that the budget hit perfect. And part of that is, really the initial plan is we're starting year 5 of a flat levy. And things are more expensive now than they were 5 years ago. And so some of that is what we're getting is that state revenues, even though we are getting more money in the general fund, aren't going to keep up with some of the costs that are happening this large of a budget. And I'll show you some of that as we go. So, and Lisa Hall, she did say that at some point as we built up this nice fund balance with ESSER funds and sort of being smart through that we'd sort of hit a funding cliff where we'd have to start drawing down into the fund balance. And this is sort of the start of that. So at some point down the future, we may have to look at, do we need to ask more from the levy? Do we change how the program's running? Those are future decisions. We don't have to make that today. So we're sort of following the plan that was set, before I got here. So where does that 1.9 sort of come in? So when we first started looking at this, I estimated we were going to get $2.3 million more from the state. That's from salary-based apportionment, some of the changes they made. But then they did pass House Bill 521, and state lottery, which went into our general fund, went away.
Oh, right.
Because it went to help support that other fund. So we are, in another fund, we're getting more facility money. But that did hit the general fund as far as that, because that's going away. So really that's our budgeted revenue increase. And so where are we doing our spending? And where did those increases come from? One, Percy increased. So that, we have nothing to do. That's law, it went up almost 1% this year. So we're, like for teachers now, the district contribution is 13.5%. You want to compare that, Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid is 7.65%. So we're paying almost double in FICA. And that's, in the future that could go down, but it all depends on what the Percy board and how the fund is doing and all the actuaries and how they do the math. Workers' comp for our insurance on that, we're having an increase about $50,000. We had some high claims last year. Workers' comp is one of the things that sort of goes up and down. If you have a lot of years of no claims, then your premium goes down. The moment you start having a few claims, the premiums go up. It's the average of the last 3. We had a high year, which has started this year, and previous to that, we had a really good year. So that's just, actually met with the workers' comp representative. She visited from Boise, and so that's just sort of a typical pattern for organizations. Our liability insurance, that's going up about $50,000. For us, our rates are good. One reason for that is I worked with Matt Deal and we re-looked at the estimated replacement value of our buildings. And made it more realistic to what they were actually insured at. So when the building in Pocatello burned down at Highland High School, they're insured, let's say the replacement building was probably 70 million. It was insured for like 50. That's what they got. So that's why they're saying they think they had to go out for a bond to really replace that building. So the rate, what we're looking at is not at what construction rates are now. So we bumped that up, but that reflects in our premium. The other thing too is because of that type of a loss statewide, we're an insurance pool. Eventually, insurance rates are going to go up a little bit because the whole pool sort of shares that cost. The final one, when I talked with our insurance broker, was that overall, the insurance market nationwide is going up because of all the losses across the nation. Sure. And so at some point,
trickles through.
Yeah, they sort of self-insure for lower ones, but then they have another level of insurance for catastrophic things, and that's what's costing the whole cost there, some dollars. But those, I mean, that's still, $400,000. If you look at the next three lines, that's really much of some of the costs associated with staffing, with where we're estimating with the negotiated agreement, with that. I know you're looking at that later today. And also there's two health insurance. One, the health insurance increase was, health insurance went up 7.7% this year. That's the rate increase for the year, so that's about $500,000. That's a big hit. The other thing that was part of what we worked on with the association was the district has never covered or helped with the cost if you had a spouse or kids on your plan. So we always play for the employee, but if you were employed plus spouse, employed plus kids, the district or the employee was paying the balance of that premium. And so, as we're looking at maintaining staff and what other people are doing, we asked Coeur d'Alene. Coeur d'Alene pays about 65% of the family care. As Post Falls, they do something similar. Lakeland does not. So some of our, local districts are more competitive in that regard. The other one is also the state plan. There is a big push at the state level from the legislature for districts to move to the state health plan. The state health plan, we think our insurance right now is actually better for our employees. That's agreement with the association. But the one thing the state plan is better on is they do provide dependent care. And so if we're looking at really what school districts are doing across the state, it's becoming more of a standard to help with those costs. And so what we did is we sort of looked at what the premium costs were and said, well, how could we afford some of this cost to cover for the dependents? And that's probably a high estimate on my part on what it may cost us. We don't know because we don't know how many people are going to sign up. I think it'll be more than previous years because now they get a little help. If we didn't add some of this right now for 1 month, if you were going to try to cover your whole family with what we're going to help with, your out-of-pocket still $840 a month. If we didn't do that, it would be the employee be paying $1,600 a month. And if you're looking at a classified staff member who's being paid as a bus driver, their whole paycheck goes to benefits. So we really thought that this is something we sort of have to move forward on. And it is a big ticket item, but it's sort of where the market is as far as school districts and agencies. So that was a big hit. The salary increase staffing adjustments is the 3.5% estimate. And that's for all groups, not just the Teachers Association. $100,000 for technology with the Chromebooks. We have a one-time cost with the Sandpoint High School track. We're going to take that out of the general fund. Some of those costs are happening now, this fiscal year, to prep, but this would actually just be the surface. That's only one time, so that could go off the board next year. And then there's a few other adjustments. But some of that may change a little bit, but roughly that's sort of where that 1.375 gap is. So some is one time, but some is ongoing. That's all I have. It's sort of a lot of information, but that's sort of a preview. If you really have any questions about budget, and want more detail, I'm here for questions, but before the budget hearing, please, anyone reach out and I can go over details.
So give us the timeline, just for clarity. We approve in June. And then how much time do we have to see the details before that meeting, so that if people do have specific questions?
I have to have the budget advertisement 2 weeks before the hearing. So really I'm thinking about before Memorial Day, we'll have the advertisement.
Yeah.
And that's where we'll have, I'll have all the numbers. I won't really have the narrative. I'll work on that narrative for the board meeting.
Yeah.
But by that time, the hard numbers, not just for the general fund, but for example, the new facilities funds that are coming out, that information, we'll have available. So, I think we're thinking right on the 24th or so.
Yeah,
So really only a
that's
couple
just
weeks.
for us to keep in our mind if we want to fine tooth comb things before, we get up to the table to approve it.
And then of
It'll come
course,
to us on the 24th-ish.
He'll have
I'll have the advertisement, and then if you want additional information that's sort of baked with that, I guess I could provide that. I guess what information would you like?
All of it?
I guess I just don't want us to come down to the very end and have people lobbing these kind of detailed questions at you. The sooner some people can look at it, it
I mean, if we're
helps.
approving it, I think it'd be good to look at it.
Yeah. Give
Sure,
people the-
and
Yeah.
yeah, I have no problem having that information. And the thing about the budget is that the state doesn't really give us a whole lot of time in this process.
Right.
I mean, if we had to design it it would be better that if we didn't get information late April and
I
late
know.
May in a month, I'm providing really that's honestly the timeline.
Yeah.
The good thing about the budget process, though, is that as you go through, it's not a one-time static thing. And so that if we came through and circumstances changes or we needed to make adjustments, there is a process to do it mid-year, which we can always do. But I can certainly have information on, all the numbers. A lot of times when you're looking at start balance, revenues, expenditures, end balance, it's just a lot of information. And that's why a lot of times I keep it to like salaries, benefits, sort of as the general areas within IFARM's coding, just to try to make it more understandable. But
And this is a really helpful overview, and I just want to make sure that people get the sense that they've had a chance to look at the numbers, that it's been in their hands long enough before the board meeting that they really have a chance to.
We'll have something sort of all put together for that on that advertising.
And if it's a lot, a couple weeks, is that asking too much to have a couple
it'll
weeks?
go
No,
to
that's what he's
24th,
saying.
and then
That's what he's
the
saying. He's
meeting
saying
will happen
The meeting's
until
June
11th.
11th.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That
it
was
would
what
be 2
I
weeks.
was asking if it was the 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be I'll take a look at and look at the dates for when we're going to officially advertise, so that's when we'll try to have it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Good overview. And now we're going to move on and invite Dr. Meyer to give us the superintendent report.
Okay. Okay, as you know, the connection is our theme this year. Every student, every day is our mission. This is the overview of the strategic plan, which is also on the back wall there, which is also in your board update and on my email. So everybody remembers what we're working towards. The first one, and which was the highest incident back from our stakeholders that they wanted us to address, was school safety. We have a campus security officer here tonight, and looking at deficient and unsafe building conditions, which we started the long-range facility planning committee. So speaking of security, I did tell the board that PAFE, we are really happy, PAFE funded, we requested another campus security officer. This one will be covering Southside, Sagal, and Washington. Right now, Southside and Sagal, JD McElroy goes out as often as he can, but they're pretty far out. And he also has to cover Washington, Sandpoint High School, Sandpoint Middle, Farm and Stidwell, and LPO. Keith Delahunty covers Clark Fort, Hope, Northside, and Kootenai. So adding this elementary campus security officer is going to be great. We have it open now. It'll close on May 23rd. We're going to do all the interviews on May 30th, so the board will be able to introduce hopefully the person, whenever if they're local at the June meeting, and remember that they do go through a thorough background check, psych eval, they go through a polygraph, and they go through an arms, making sure they have qualifications and fitness, all of that. So they'll go through a lot before you even meet them. Just as a reminder to yourself and to the public that we are moving the June board meeting to the Ponderay Event Center. Finally got confirmation this morning on that, thankfully. But we do, I've been going to all the city council meetings and inviting those folks to come to hear the long-range facility planning. It is the annual budget hearing, as you heard, but I think folks are really interested in what is the subcommittee going to recommend for the long-range facility planning. They are, as I've told the board, they're going to give you different options. A plan A, a plan B, a plan, I don't know what they've labeled them. I stepped out of it. So Dave Demers is the chair, Chuck Wilman is the vice chair, and they have 5 people on there. We have 40-some people on the actual committee. Don't quote me on that number. I can't remember the exact number because a few people didn't come to the last couple meetings, but they have like 5, 6 people on the subcommittee that are getting this prepared. So they will be at the June 11th board meeting. And for anyone in the public, this is posted after the meeting. The board already has access to this. That long-range facility planning committee overview, that if you want to have a good synopsis of what have we done since getting the committee and what have they done at each meeting, what have they seen, what information, financial information, all of our BCEFs, we're building condition evaluation forms, that's a state form to look, so we're comparing apples to apples for schools. All of that is there with an overview of what we've done. So I've linked it in, it's super easy to follow, and it's good information to share with folks. Then hopefully they'll have more information at the June 11th meeting. So we are moving, the June meeting will be at the Ponderay Event Center, your old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
I'm going to await board feedback on this, but we do have a draft letter. CFO Wallace helped me draft the first draft of the highway rerouting. For those in the public that haven't heard, there is a proposal to run Highway 95 right over the top of Sago Elementary. We have quite a few facility concerns and some definite safety concerns. So we have a draft letter here, and I will wait. The district leadership team, after Brian did an initial draft, we've done a little editing, and then we will await your input. Once I hear your input, probably by this weekend, I'll want to get that out next Monday.
What is the form you want to hear back from the board on this letter?
You can call me, text me, stay after the meeting and tell me.
Love it.
Yeah, you have a suggestion rights, so you can give me comments on it if you want.
Okay. So
you can,
in the next
you could print it and write things down. I would not prefer that method, but you could if you wanted to do that. I would really like if you just email me, called me, texted me, call me on the phone, and I'll do the edits right there.
Okay.
But whatever works for you, since you want to do whatever you want.
Mostly saying in the next couple days, if we could all reach out with feedback on this letter, so she's got the clear green light to go ahead.
That would be great.
Do you want feedback even if we're good with the letter as it is?
Yes.
Yeah, just give me a thumbs up and a text or something.
I'll do it right now.
Okay. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Okay.
I'll email you right now.
And I really just wanted it on the record.
I do.
And I wanted the public to know that the board was had directed me or given me,
right,
however, permission
guidance
to do
on
that.
that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
We talked a little bit tonight about the student connection and one trusted adult. You heard from Sandpoint High School. Recruit and retain, you heard tonight from the CFO. Really just want to make sure that everyone knows if ratified, it's ratified by the association. If the board tonight votes in approval of that, this is going to be significant help. I won't go into details since CFO Wallace did, but I do want you to know for us as a district to recruit and retain quality staff, which is our third bucket up there in our strategic plan, it's really important to me that people feel valued and that they feel like they're working here for something besides just a paycheck. This will help people feel valued. I know this from my experience. If people don't have enough to subsist in their money, they don't have anything else left at the end of the the day, it's very difficult to see the motivation and like the bigger picture. So I think this will really send a message to our folks that have kids and families that it's really important and we value you as employees. So thank you for that consideration. Our community connection, I just wanted to point out a really cool couple of things that the secondary schools are doing. This is awesome. They're going to do a story in the Daily Bee, and we're going to do a podcast with them. But you remember the students that came from LPO and presented on the water quality to you?
Yeah.
They found out about the pikes, and so they decided they really needed to help Lake Pend Oreille by doing this pike fishing derby to help the bull trout. So they did this whole thing, and look at the community connection. Fish and Game, Sheriff's, Marine Division, the Fishing Club, and they got permits and everything all on their own. Incredible work. I went over and met with the students. This cute one, Caitlin, I probably should say it, but she's a nice, wonderful young lady. Caitlin, she goes out and is fishing, is trying to help the cause in our lake, and they're running a fishing derby.
Yeah, that's great.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, Clark Fork and, Phil and Casey are here, but this is just an incredible community connection. And Ken Eldor, who is the CTE instructor there, they did crosses. They did not have any crosses, and the students noticed and made these and they came there, you can see the mayor thank them. But they did a community project and did those for the unmarked graves. I just think it's incredible.
Yeah.
So, and there is another picture with everybody, but it was really grainy, you couldn't see it, so I used this one. But what an incredible connection that they had with the community to do that. And then Space Point, I did a post, and that's just the post that I did. These students, wow, they are getting some, they can't even send us pictures of everywhere they went because it's so top secret. They're like, as you can imagine, we were restricted on the pictures we could take. But these kids are getting the experience of a lifetime, and they've just been invited to several things. Kyle Averill is amazing. He's helping teach rocketry and astronomy with Kyle. And oh my gosh, I almost called because there's Kyle and Kyle. Kyle Olmstead is Kyle Averill with Space Point, and they have paired together. So Kyle is the employee. Kyle Averill started Space Point, and Kyle work together. So but they have created these opportunities for kids that are really with NASA, Mars. It's incredible stuff.
So cool.
Thank you.
Thank you to the board for attending this. As you know, this was out of all the presenters they presented for several years in a row, this was the highest attendance event they've ever had. So they were very thankful, and we have a plan for next year as well for something. Thank you to Panhandle for the child care. There's 57 kids. We weren't quite expecting that. Thank you to Jackie because she set it all up for me. She had a sign inside out thing with stickers, stuff that I haven't thought about in years. So thank you to Jackie for doing that. But they funded, and then Kelly got all the food from Yoke. So it was a team event. But it was really good.
How many people were there? Somebody asked me.
Almost 300.
Okay, I was gonna say it was more than a couple hundred because the whole commons was full.
Yeah, and there was both in there. It was almost 300, and it really was the well-attended event. So people are really looking. Parents are looking for this. 57 people that have kids wanted to come. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
And then if you feed them, I think that helps also.
Oh yeah.
Thank you to anyone who attended the coffee clutch. I had my last one of the year, so I did 4 this year, and think next year I'll probably do 2, 1 in the fall. If you do too many of them, then less people, but I probably do 1 in the fall and 1 in the spring, so thank you. I did send out to the staff and the board all of the topics that came up, so you would see what kind of questions are coming up. Thank you to Kristen Hawkins, who did the April loop for us. You can see how wonderful it was. If you want to see any of the past loops, they're linked in there where it says the loop. I will give a forewarning to everyone that our district leadership team, Andrea, Casey, Becky, and Kelly, are doing the May loop. So the quality will be a little bit different, and we're
she just threw you guys under the bus.
Actually, Trustee Sherman is an author, and she's volunteered to write an article for us. So that part of probably, and I think there's one from Clark Fork that we're trying to kind of have other people help us. it just won't be the same Kristen Hawkins.
Won't be the same Luke.
Right,
New
so
Luke.
there you go.
Okay?
Student learning, I just wanted to give, based on some information that we had a board workshop about really looking at data every meeting, what could we look at? Something, and I do have Lisa McElroy here who has put this together and is in charge of this for the district. I want to start out with our mission, and you remember this, everyone in the top right, everyone graduates a reader. That makes such a difference for their life, and she really emphasizes that when she does any of the training. Reading independently with adequate accuracy, 96%. So all of this can be assessed to support comprehension. So if you look at this, and if we have any questions, she'll answer them better than I will, but 4th grade, and you can see PTR, that is our intervention program, Pathways to Reading. Lots of training on that. It was a 6-day, 5-day, and I went to 1 day. It was so intense, 5 days of training that people go through, our staff does to do this. But look over here at 4th grade. That's fall, red is winter, and then the spring. What you can see in every single grade level, and these are just, she did it at every grade level, but these are just highlight. Look at the amount of interventions are going down because students now are able to read. So they're able to read with 96% accuracy or above. And they have that screener, so then that's how they can measure it and follow the students. But look at that at 4th grade, and notice it's on a 60-point scale. Yeah. And then 5th grade is on that 50-point scale. 6th grade, 50-point scale. Secondary is only on 15 scale. So see how the numbers are less? So it looks like, but it really is significant if you look at that.
Yeah.
This is like amazingly positive. I can't even emphasize enough how positive it is. And you know, she's gone and talked to Kiwanis, she's talked to Rotary, she did a board presentation, she's done the staff, but this is really coming in just as a huge success story for mostly for our students who are at the center of everything we do, but really kudos to Lisa, her leadership, and all of our parapros and teachers and interventionists that are doing this. This is just really something to celebrate, so super proud of that. Okay, so speaking of reading, switching to the library bill, or the Children's School and Library Protection Act, I just want the board to know, we had talked at the board workshop, and we're waiting for the model policy for the House Bill 710 to see how the library bill will go. But we do know that there is going to be, if patrons or parents go and have anything they believe is harmful content, there will be a review committee according to the law to see if it needs to go into the adults only section. So we had decided as a group that each trustee is going to appoint one committee member and then have maybe a couple of district representatives. I met with the library leads last Friday, and they were hopeful that maybe they could have a few librarians on. So we probably will want to look maybe at a rotating. Trustee Peters and I talked about might be nice to have it so there's not too many. If there's a rotating. So when that comes out, hopefully next meeting the trustees will have names for me for that. We have to have them in place for next school year.
Okay. Are we going to have model policy or something in place before we ask our our appointed person so that they know what the requirements are?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm sure.
But if you have somebody now, I would be happy to share the bill with them, tell them the structure we're thinking about, because the policy is just going to kind of lay out what I think we already think what we're going to be doing. Because the law is pretty specific.
Do we have an idea, or are you allowed to tell us?
Yeah.
So we can, if we go to our people, we don't have to send them to you, and we just know what.
So I would have them read the bill and tell them that the bill requires that if anyone thinks that there's a harmful content in any of the books in the library, then they need to file a complaint that there is a harmful, then that goes to the board, to the committee, sorry. That review committee will meet once they have however many, they will meet, they will review it, and that board makes a decision whether that book is going to stay in circulation or go to the harmful section. And at that point, if they want to appeal it, then it would go up to me, and if I upheld it, then it would go to the board. So there'd be like 3 layers.
So they wouldn't be unless there is that complaint.
Yes. They don't have to look at any of the books unless there is a parent or patron complaint that says that it's harmful.
That makes sense, yeah, they're not just gonna.
And they have definitions in the law: obscene, harmful, sexual. They have all of the definitions clearly outlined, so they don't have to do any definitions subjectively. It's all objective. Okay, this is just letting people know about the board, the location change, Ponderay Event Center, every student, every day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Moran. At this time, we have an opportunity for public comment. Do we have anyone for public comment? So the Board of Trustees welcomes patron comments from the community. Community comments are limited to 3 minutes per person, appropriate for open forum. Input must not identify individual personnel or students or be abusive, defamatory, or obscene. It's a board meeting held in public, not a public board meeting, as governed by Idaho Code 33, Section 5, so no discussions or responses occur during the meeting. Issues can be referred to proper staff, person, or committee for follow-up by the board's discretion, and any complaint about the district during, including instruction and discipline, personnel, policy, procedure, or curriculum should be referred through proper administrative channels before presented here for consideration. So, we have Rosemary O'Brien. Sorry, I couldn't read the R. O'Brien, welcome.
Sorry, bear with me. My knee went out today, so I'm going to hobble up here.
Okay. Well,
You can do
I
it.
think I'm okay.
You can do it from
You
there
can do
if
it
you
from
want.
wherever you want.
Yeah. It'll uncrank in a minute.
Okay. This won't be part of your 3 minutes.
Thank you.
There you go.
Now just stay back here when you go back.
Oh, thank you. Before I start, I just wanted to say 2 things. It's my first meeting here, and I found it fascinating that listening about the commitment to curriculum and to higher education, and how ironic that I'm here today to talk about an issue in Clark Fork from a resident perspective. Please excuse me for reading this, but I'm chatty, and if I don't stay on track, I'm going to use my 3 minutes up. So again, my name is Rosemary O'Brien, and I am a resident of Clark Fork. I am here tonight, and I don't know if this falls within your regulations, to question and object to the decision to reduce the science teacher's position in Clark Fork to part-time. In a world where science and technology are so important, why reduce the curriculum to only core requirements and stating that any advanced science classes can be taken online? How can you effectively take physics and chemistry online? In a world where increasing enrollment, what I've learned today, is important, why would a parent of an aspiring doctor, veterinarian, physicist, even look at Clark Fork if they have to go online for science? Now, I'm not prepared as I wanted to be. The last 2 weeks, and I'm sorry, Kelly, the last 2 weeks I have left 3 voicemail messages for Kelly requesting a number of new district office positions in the last 3 years and their salaries. Today I finally connected with Kelly, and she said she never received them. So clearly I would recommend your tech department look at your voicemail system, because 3 of my messages seem to not get to the the required person. However, Kelly was very gracious. She walked me through how to get the data, and basically I want to compare newly created positions in administration, in the district office, and their salaries versus the cost of 1 science teacher. I don't think that's unreasonable. Then I can really try and understand why the staff cut at Clark Fork. Also, my understanding is that the Clark Fork ISAT scores, science scores, have increased this year. perhaps because of the result of a new science teacher the last 2 years. So why not cut his position? Clark Fork is a very special school that offers smaller classes and an educational environment that is important to the community. We need to foster the science curriculums, not hinder them. As for my credentials, I have been a substitute teacher at Clark Fork for 4 years.
And Rosemary,
Pardon me?
that timer was you a little while ago.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's all right. That's it.
And if you have anything you want to give us for the board to review, you can.
No, what I'd like to do is get the information. Kelly showed me how to do it. I'll do my numbers and respond that way.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
Oops.
And then we also have Sheila Thompson to speak.
I'm sorry.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Appreciate
Hi, my name is Sheila Thompson, and I've had 4 kids graduate from the Sandpoint and Charter High School programs. My youngest one just graduating last year. And I'm here just to speak upon the scholarship program and expressing gratitude about the scholarship program that the counseling department at the Sandpoint High School has put together. It's been a pretty amazing program. I'm not sure how many people are aware of what they have there, but their team there has put together a program and basically a structure for our students at the high school to research and apply for scholarships both at the local, state, national level. They have a centralized place and they provide a lot of education on how to find the scholarships in their buckets. And here in Sandpoint, we have some amazing local support. My son was a definite, he was a recipient of that support last year, and he went to VSU this fall for his freshman year. And through the scholarship program, he was able to fund his whole year, 100% through grants and scholarships. So, and that's a direct result of the program that they have at the high school. So, I also was involved in a Boise State parent group. And it really became apparent to me of how special this program is here, because it's not very common across the state at all. And so I was able to share a lot of the processes that were set up here at the high school to help other families and students at Boise State. My son actually helped a couple of his roommates, and he's on track to fund the rest of his undergraduate between scholarships locally here and state and nationally. And it's because of the encouragement and the structure of how to write the essays, putting your heart into it, and then creating that team environment. I think the biggest thing was creating the team environment between the parents and, for me and my son and I, of like encouraging that, hey, we can help. We aren't to do the work, but we can help organize that. So pretty powerful. And actually today my son was hit and enter on his last scholarship application. So anyways, I just wanted to say kudos. I know in these kind of environments you probably get a lot of negative feedback, and I just wanted to provide some positive feedback for what you guys are doing, especially at the high school level in the graduate or in the counseling department. So
thank you.
Thank you.
So we have, if we move right along, we have the first reading of policy 2600, promotion, retention, K6 revision.
So you can see that this
Very
is
first thing.
changing it from K6 to K5.
Yep.
And then.
So it'll change the title as well. Yeah.
And then we took away the specific screener. They may still use that screener, but then it opens it up if other new ones. Dr. Jansen was saying this one is the best we have, but it's not probably stellar. So we took this off so that we could open it up if something else does come out. This in green was recommended by ISBA in the model policy, and it's not required in state law, but I recommend that we do not put that statement in. Typically, how it's worked in this district, very well and successfully is that it's a team decision, so the team comes together. As you know, research does not support retention, so oftentimes parents want to hold their kid back, but it's not what's best for the student. So I think a team coming together should make the decision, which is how we currently do it. So I don't believe that we need that sentence, but that's up to the board decision. And this is just the first read, so you certainly can give us any feedback on that.
Are there any questions? Pretty straightforward adjustments.
Yeah, I mean, I probably agree with it. I had a question along those lines of that statement. Like, what if a parent absolutely, as part of the team, wants that to happen?
Right.
Does that still supersede the rest of the team?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, I haven't run into that in my 30-some years of doing this. Usually when you talk, the evidence speaks for itself. So if they do a screener, if they look at the grades, if they look at where are they at socially, how are they getting along with others at that grade level, what's their cognition, usually you have all of that information at the table and everyone ends up coming to the same conclusion. Oh yeah, this would probably be better to hold this kid back. And typically that's in kindergarten or first grade, second grade, like very much the primary. And then when they get older, we would hate to see this happen, for athletics or any other reason.
That's where I was going to go with it.
Yeah.
So I know some families that did that specifically for their kids. And it was like,
so this is a team decision. If it comes down to it, parents are legally able to put their foot down and say, no, this is absolutely what we want. But I believe that we should always try to work collaboratively together on what's best for the kid. And if there's a whole team of people around and they talk about it, they usually come to the same consensus together as a group.
So question and follow up with that, do we need to have something in there that states something along those lines of the team coming together?
Sure.
Making that decision?
It does say in the, if you look, 2 paragraphs about school teams will utilize research-based tools to aid in the decision-making process. And so that paragraph talks a little bit about what Dr. Meyer is referencing right now, the process for making the decision.
Well, I guess my question was more along the line of if a parent insists, like that statement that you're recommending we don't have.
but it's codified in law. Like, I don't think we need to have it in our policy. If it's codified in law, the parent has the right. Whether or not it's in our policy or not, the right is.
It doesn't specifically talk about retention or promotion. They're just referring to the parent rights law that passed. So ultimately, the parents can make a decision, and we certainly could put that in there. That sentence didn't seem very collaborative to me.
What if we left it but just changed it and said if a student is being recommended for retention or promotion, the team, I don't know. I guess I just want to make sure that what we're doing is supported somewhere.
Yeah.
Or I would be talked off the ledge if you guys think we don't need it.
Well, one of the things that taking this out does is it takes it off the table that, oh, we all think it's a really bad idea, but we're going to put it in the file that the parent said and pushed it through. Takes that off the table and gives that, just like she said, it's more collaborative. The implication is, hey, we're going to come to this decision as a team. If in the end the parent pushes it through and flexes their muscle and says, for whatever reason, even against all the issue there, there's not really a need to call it out in here. They've exercised it separately. I actually don't think this is a great time to go and protect a parent right. They'll have it, but using this team approach is better. And then it just doesn't even lay it out on the table as, hey, what a good idea. Hey, what a good idea for us to defer and then put it in there in the file that everybody disagreed with the parent.
I am not entirely against this, just to say it up front, but I think every opportunity is a great one to protect parental rights. And if that has to be done here, I mean, I'm not saying it has to be, but I'm saying, should it be,
Which does it cross-reference? Oh, it only cross-references the 6 to 8. Yeah. Attendance requirement. Okay.
So
if that green goes back in, we need to cross-reference the parent rights bill.
I was just gonna say, cross-reference parents' rights. But
So ISBA said recommended that should be there.
Yeah.
And you're
So
saying
model
we don't need it because it's already in law, or like, I guess.
I'm saying we
clarify
don't
that.
need it because I think the tone of it is,
Implies.
replies an us against them.
Mm.
I would
Okay.
rather come at it from a collaborative approach, because in my 30-some years, it's always been collaborative. I haven't run into any situation yet now, you know, knock on wood, but I have not run into a situation where everyone didn't come to what's best for the student at the end after looking at all the evidence and data.
And even if that situation arises, it doesn't have to be in policy for it to be a procedural practice to then allow that parent to override.
Can we just cross-reference the parental rights?
Yeah, at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm just, I mean.
And I can also change that
It
sentence.
states that.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, I agree, like, that does sound like, no, I'm saying this, okay, fine, we're gonna put it in the file, but it is kind of.
Is there other?
No, just to make sure that somewhere it is in there
nuance
that the parents have that final say and that it's clear
Yeah, but
somehow.
what if it's for a reason that is not in the student's best interest?
At the end of the day, that's not our freaking decision.
You're right.
I hate to say it, that's the parent's decision,
Yeah.
isn't it? And so I don't care if it's the right thing or not. If they decide it, they're the right. That's their right.
That's right.
So
Well, so I don't know, I'm not sure what advice we're giving on this. This is a first read, so we're hearing
Yeah.
feedback.
I'm okay with the cross-reference.
Yeah, I think adding the cross-reference so that a parent goes,
Yeah.
looking at this policy in particular, would see that cross-references parental rights. And then leaving the stricken part as is. I'm not,
I mean,
I want
I
to
can
give
work-
them
I can work
appropriate
on it.
guidance so that when it comes back for second reading,
It's just rare
We
that
understand.
we take something out from what ISBA recommends. And so I was like, wait a second.
so you're now, I want it on record, we're now on ISBA team.
We can mark today down. It's like a
Yes,
holiday.
I know.
Data will live on.
I'll work on
Okay.
some wording about a
Well-
collaborative approach and a team decision, but in the absence of a unilateral, in the absence of
Yeah.
a consensus, the parents have the
Final
right
say.
to.
Override.
I mean, something that implies a team effort,
Uh-huh.
but parental final
Collaborative.
say, I think would be, I don't know, is that
Process
a
for
good
making
approach?
decisions. Shall provide opportunities for dialogue between parents and educators,
Should do
ensures
one
all
time.
involved in the decisions based on thoughtful professional findings. And then right after that, right after findings, you could be,
Okay, I'll
Okay.
work on something for the
Okay.
next. Yeah.
all right.
Sorry. Sorry
No,
about
no, no.
that.
No,
So,
I should have worked on wording
I
at
will-
the green, so that's my
What's,
bad.
pardon?
I think 2605 attendance requirements, I don't understand how that's applicable. It says grades 6 through 9, but the policy is only K through 5.
it's because it was K through 6 probably.
So that could be removed, right?
No, it's just been added strictly.
That's new language from model policy,
The cross-reference?
the cross-reference.
Right, but I see what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It
I didn't
seems,
see
it
anything
seems
in-
not to relate to the K-5, but I didn't actually go look at 2605, so I don't know if there's language in there that
I did
is.
see where
We could strike it.
connected.
I just added everything from model policy.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe just
Well, I
need
mean,
to
you're
ask.
right.
Jason.
Yeah, why don't we just
Yeah. Find out why it's
Yeah,
there.
yeah, ISBA, what-
Because I didn't go look at 2605 and see if there was something that actually informed on this.
Casey, do you know why it's there?
Okay. Okay, so that's the two takeaways on that.
Couldn't find anything when I read the
That was
policy.
first reading
Yeah,
of
but, like,
2600, and then we'll move right on. I'll hear a motion for consent agenda.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
A second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. We have the action items. The first one is to approve the staff and student calendars.
So you can see that there's revised. The first wording was a little bit, we had some parents look at it and it wasn't clear enough. So we revised that today so that you could see school is in session for the March SLC, student leadership, student-led conferences, SLC Day on March 14th. So the only students that will be in session are Sandpoint High School and LPO.
Non-student.
Non-student are.
Okay. Are there any other questions on approving this? If not, I'll entertain a motion for that.
I make a motion to adopt the student and staff calendar for the 24-25. Wait, that's all we did.
I was just looking at the
Just
24-25, so
okay.
let's hear that one first.
I make a motion to adopt the student and staff calendar for the 2024-2025 school year. Revised.
I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded, all in favor. That, what we just approved then was, this is pulled up, it's the student calendar and the certified.
Yep.
Okay. Moved
Aye.
and seconded, all in favor.
Oh,
Aye.
We still have to vote.
I'm sorry, I was a little confused
I think we
because
made
there's two
that as clear
calendars
as
in that.
mud.
Now, we are gonna go look at the 25-26 student and certified calendars. So,
Not revised.
this is,
Correct.
well, this is the first
First
pass
look
at
at
this
it.
one.
And we have all students having student-led conferences by that year is what we're planning. Sandpoint High School and LPO would be doing training that year if everything stays on track, but
Okay.
you never know.
It seems like every year at some point, we get asked, why did you approve that Christmas break schedule? But this year, at least, it looks
Well, we
better.
found out today from the association that Post Falls and Lakeland have now switched to our spring break. We really had a lot of
good.
pressure for some ADs to try to move our spring break, and now they've moved to ours, so.
Now we're on a,
Good thing we moved.
that's
Yeah.
right, okay. I see, okay, yeah, I see where spring break is.
So that's-
Did anybody have any questions based on this? Okay? Looks like it's straightforward. I will hear a motion to approve the 25-26, both calendars, student and certified.
I make a motion to adopt the student and staff calendars for the 2025-2026 school years.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Uh,
All in favor? Oh, any discussion?
Yeah, point of clarification here. Didn't we have the 24-25 student insert calendar in there as well?
We
Okay.
we did,
We already
that
made a
was
motion for that
revised.
one, right? The
We
revised
looked at the
one,
revised
separate
one.
Then it was okay.
I mean,
That's all.
For
I
You
had.
made a motion to, the only reason it was in there was if you needed to look back at the one.
Gotcha.
The transparency of what she posted versus the change in the wording and putting Clark Ford.
So we had to make two. We had to do two votes.
So now we're on 25-26, okay?
That's all I had to say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. Lost track of where we
Aye.
were. We do have this second reading of some policies, and the first is 2435, which is the advanced opportunities, the revisions that are made. Sorry, I'm still getting to my place. You got their way how to make.
Just a few changes.
Yeah. So if you recall all the content that was added for the advanced opportunities, the whole section taken out. We looked at this last time. Are there any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the 2435 revisions to advanced opportunities.
I make a motion to approve policy 2435, advanced opportunity. As revised.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The second policy that we're looking at for second reading is policy 3085, sexual harassment, discrimination, and retaliation. And if you recall those changes that are up on the screen now. any, this is your refresher. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
We'll have discussion after this.
Yes. I'm still looking for a motion though, unless you guys are just still thinking about it. This is second reading, so they.
I mean, I'll make a motion. I do have a couple
You have
of
a
questions
question.
or comments, so if we can,
Okay.
I'll get to that part. I mean, I have no problem
Okay.
making a motion.
Motion to approve.
I
Stalled-
don't want
we're
to
stalled
approve,
out.
I don't
How
want
about
to
second?
approve it as it is though, so
Oh.
someone else make the motion.
Okay, we're back to
Yeah,
the.
board.
Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make a
20.
motion to approve the 3085 sexual harassment, discrimination, retaliation, so that we can go into discussion.
Can I have a second?
I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion?
My only discussion slash question, I guess for all of you here that are wise board members, what's your take? I appreciate removing, because the gender word was like redundant, even by the definition that was just signed into law, I think in the past 2 weeks by the governor to define it and all of that. The second paragraph, is that the right there? Well, first paragraph is shown there.
Yeah.
Fourth line down, gender identity. What's your take on that? I don't love that in there, as all the definitions that have been even signed into law of what as gender is defined and is synonymous with biological sex, even in Idaho law now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you raise
Fourth
that
line.
complaint?
Fourth line right there,
In our-
gender identity, it's the last
Yeah.
2 words on the right.
It's gender scratched out, then there's gender identity.
here.
Oh, right there.
Jalen,
Okay.
did you bring this,
I did, it was like 2 issues.
Yeah.
It's cool, you can call me whatever.
I know.
I don't.
Thought I should formalize it.
yeah.
Anyway, I can't recall conversation in our first reading.
I did, but it was.
Directed.
It was kind of 2 concerns. One was the redundancy of the word gender, and I did also throw that out there. I'm fairly certain I did or would have. But I
Had
don't
we
know.
asked for any follow-up?
Well, I just saw this release this weekend. I mean, follow-up
Okay.
from Friday till now? No, I have not.
Well, it's a difficult conversation because it's always very charged. When you
Right.
just start talking about policy and using gender identity and knowing where the boundaries are in that definition. I don't have a good alternate suggestion. However, I would say that harassment on any level for
Right.
anyone, regardless of what they're going through,
100%.
needs to be squelched. And so I can't sit here and say, hey,
Right.
this is going to be a situation where harassment's going to be all right.
Right.
So
Agreed. But there's so
in
many
my way of
things-
thinking, to err on the side of naming too many things is better than not enough if it's a harassment issue. So
Mhm.
I
But
I
there's
don't know.
also like unlimited things that could be in there that you could be harassed for that aren't. I mean, maybe not in the lines of the sexual harassment part.
Well,
I think it's a, go ahead.
One of the points is like no matter what the definition is from the state and is signed into law, somebody that is being harassed because of anything, especially their gender identity, whether or not the law says one thing or another, if they're being harassed because of that, it's not okay.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah.
And that's why I'm asking. I'm not just
Yeah.
demanding,
You're-
because I do agree, like, they should not be harassed.
Yeah.
Somebody that's having that in their life, like, I get it. But I don't love the open door that we maybe are having to allow for that to be. I think that
but
there's.
keep in
yeah.
mind that there's a grievance process, and if a grievance is brought and found to be baseless or not really have any merit to it, it would go through the process and be weeded out in that way too. So, I mean,
Is this in there because of, is this Title IX or wording from Title, what, federal law? Is that
well,
why
this
it's in
is
there?
There was also
Yeah, at the very,
being revised on,
at the very bottom,
yeah.
you see the legal references, Title IX, non-discrimination on the basis of sex and financial assistance.
So,
And then all of these cross-references.
of our policies, yeah. Is it worth, maybe, can we have like a third read to where I myself or somebody can do some research of the laws that have been signed in the last few weeks? Because I feel like some of that might address some of this wording, or is that not possible?
Yeah, we can certainly table it. The governor that signed into law what it dictates is that our staff cannot be mandated to call students what they identify as their gender unless the parents have given them permission.
Right, that's separate.
And we
Yeah.
cannot have any repercussions. We can't write them up. We can't give them a letter of reprimand. We can't do anything if they refuse to call the student the name that the student is asking to be identified unless the parent gives permission to the staff person for that to happen. And also that we can't, the locker room thing is still going through the court system right now.
And
It's on our
Fairness and
attorney
Women's
says-
Sports Act.
Yeah, it's on pause, for lack of a better word. It's in hiatus right now, it's going up the channels through to go to most likely to the Supreme Court.
What about, and again, I'm just asking because I don't know 100%, so maybe somebody knows here, and that's why I maybe want to do some research, is I thought that there was a law that the governor signed as well that redefined or defined in Idaho code the word gender is synonymous with biological sex. Is that true, or is that something I need to research?
Yeah,
And I guess my
can
question
look
is,
at
if that is there, then the gender identity doesn't exist.
Gender identity, obviously, gender.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, gender is already removed because it's redundant in that
Right,
terminology.
if you had, right. That's
I don't know, maybe it's a wording thing.
I can do some research on that to make sure the exact.
So I think where we're getting to is that we want to table the second reading, not vote on this yet.
I would like that.
Give it a
but-
chance.
Chair Lewis, you have a motion
Oh,
on
we
the
do have a
table
motion.
of passing this.
Revise them.
So we have to pass or not?
What's easier
So you can
to,
vote no, and then you can
That's why I didn't
table.
want to freaking make a motion.
we can
yet.
vote no, not, we have to resolve the motion that's on the
Oh.
floor. And I'm comfortable with.
So we can vote no and then make a new motion to re-table it? Is that
We
possible?
can, yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Nay.
No.
Any opposed?
No.
Aye.
Yes.
I know, do you say aye or
All
no?
of-
What the-
Yes.
that's
So
the weirdest crap
that
I've ever-
motion failed, and we would like to table the second reading of policy 3085.
We need a motion.
You need a motion.
I make a motion that we table policy, the second reading of policy 3085, sexual harassment, discrimination, and retaliation.
I second it.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. We do have a second reading of policy 3255, student conduct code. And we're all going to that right now. So there's just been handbook edition. Is there any discussion, question on this? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve policy 3255, student conduct.
I second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. That concludes our board action for tonight, and we can go on for administrative announcements. Is there anything from?
Well, I have a few, I do have a few, and mostly they're due to our lovely counseling team back here. We had 190 students take 326 AP tests over the last 7 days, so they have been busy, putting out some hard work. Next Tuesday, we'd like to invite all of you to our local scholarship night at Sandpoint High School at 6 o'clock. So speaking to some of the great works of our counseling team and everything going on that's supporting students in their post-secondary options. And then tomorrow, continuing our celebration of Student Connections, it's Declaration Day. And so our seniors will be showing up in their garb for their colleges that they're going to be going to and their future careers. So that's a big celebration that our counselors have set up in the Commons tomorrow at 8:45. So I'm excited for all kinds of things.
That's great. Anything else? Bill, do you have anything from?
Casey's going to talk about athletics.
Actually, I would just like to invite everyone to the elementary track meet, which is happening next week on Thursday. So it's at 9 a.m. So, and appreciation for the transportation again, for all the kids to get out there.
Yeah.
And if you haven't been to one of the elementary track meets, you've got to come.
They're awesome.
It is awesome. There are so many kids running around. It's awesome.
TJ,
you know, if we're going to do athletics, I'd love to share Sandpoint High School, a pretty cool thing coming up. We're getting a huge donation from SDCU, and I'd love to share real quick just kind of the story behind it. We have had for many years a contract set up with a company that goes around and collects donations from local businesses, and so instead of us going around and collecting money for donations, this business, we were paying them to do it, and we had a contract set up. Well, when I read through the contract, I found out that this company was keeping 50% of the money to pay for their time to do that, and I lost my mind, and let's just say we ended that contract immediately. At whatever cost, we ended that contract. Well, and after talking with the admin team at Sandpoint High School, we decided that we'd go ahead and just cancel that contract, go in and make a phone call with all the different companies and just raise that money, hoping that just a few of those calls would probably raise enough money to be able to make up the difference or whatever. Well, the very first phone call that I made was with STCU, and they were so excited after I told them that we were trying to be good stewards of their money and protect their, their proceeds that were coming to us, that I had a meeting set up with them the following week, and they started the meeting off by saying, how would you guys be interested, or how would you guys like having a fully funded $100,000 video board for our gym?
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, that's a great start in our meeting. And then they kept going with some other ideas that we're working with the city on, some signs on some scoreboards. So I'm just really excited that I honestly, I called them thinking, hey, I told them, I said, hey, not looking for anything huge, just you guys give us $2,000 a year, thinking maybe, and 50% of that wasn't even coming to us, so maybe we can change this after the contract is over. They're like, how about $100,000?
Wow.
So
great.
That's just one call. And so we're not even done. Like, I'm going to call everybody and let them know that we're protecting the money. And yeah, it's super exciting. So that's just one of many projects we're working on at Sandpoint High School. So.
And who won the state academic champions from Sandpoint High School?
The state, the tennis team.
Yes.
Yeah, boys tennis won that. Yep. We have 28 track kids going to state, 13 tennis kids going to compete in state. We're going to bring hardware home. We just had our, I just drew a blank what it is, Dalton's.
Our esports.
Esports brought some hardware home.
Second place.
Yeah, second place and a fourth place team.
Academic.
Yeah, Academic. It's just, there's winning happening all over the place. We are winning on and off the field, people. So, it's super exciting. I could talk all day about it. So.
Tasha, do you have any?
Sure. Well, I just calculated right now, but right now we're 83% proficient on the K3 IRI. So that's a huge plus. And then we are having Swamp Fiddle Camp next week. This is a grant, and every kid at Washington Elementary is going to learn how to play a fiddle and perform for their parents, K through 6, over the next 2 weeks. You're welcome to come experience this. I don't know how it's going to be. And then Student Council is doing a dress-up week this week, and we did Dress Like a Student, Dress Like a Teacher Day today. I changed before the board meeting
but it was pretty hilarious. There was a lot of Mrs. Hamers. So, with lanyards.
Okay. That was awesome. Anyone else, administration? Yes.
So, on May 31st at the War Memorial Field, we're having our Unified Champions, our Special Olympics. It is our third year, I believe. And this year we have invited Lakeland and I think Bonners Ferry's coming. And then our hope is next year they'll actually compete with us. And then the following week we do our littles, and that happens at Farman. So we're very, very excited. We're the only district up north that partakes. So it's very exciting this year.
That's great. That's awesome. Looking around. I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to move into executive session as provided for in Idaho Code Title 74, Section 206, subsection 1J, to consider labor contract matters authorized under Section 74, 206A, 1A, and B Idaho Code.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote.
Roll call vote, trustee Sherman,
Aye.
trustee Peters,
Yes.
trustee Williams,
Aye.
chair Lewis.
Sure.
Thank you, motion passes.
Okay, all right, we're in executive session, we're meeting downstairs.